Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have January's Shadows by Kain Coffey. So yes,
It's the best kind of coffee.
Yeah. So we return to a Kain Coffey story after Red Christmas. And go into January.
Also, it's not January's Shadows.
Is it January's Shadow?
It's just Shadow.
Okay, cool.
You had it right the first time.
Alright.
So go
future
back.
me, you know what to do.
Future him, don't edit that out. Just edit it back in. But also don't edit out what I'm saying to leave that in as well.
Future me, just go... Yes, I got it. Activate Order 66.
What?
A couple of days from now, he just like Gamer is just found dead in his room.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, but yeah, so we're going to touch on I guess he did a story in December, and we did his story in December. So now we're going to do his January story in January.
Because it's January.
Yes. So January's Shadow is told to us from a unknown narrator, just kind of like third person perspective kind of thing. And so basically the city goes dark for like a couple of days, and then when officials from the next town over, from this fairly large city goes dark. And then when they show up, when the cops or the authorities from another town or city come in to investigate what's going on, because they was like nobody's come in or out of the city. Mm-hmm. They find they find nobody around except for this mass grave in the middle of town.
Was it a mass grave?
It was mass graveyard.
Yes,
which
yes.
I feel is probably better if you didn't say yard, because it's really just a mass grave.
Yeah.
I kind of envision just a pile of bodies.
Yeah, because it said graveyard though. Because it said graveyard though, I know this is your rundown, but it almost seemed to me like the town went dark, and then when it came back up, where there were buildings and shit, there was like a full-on massive graveyard that they developed overnight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That would actually be really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. But there's just the 742 people in the town. Sorry, there's like 742 like dead, and which is basically the population. There's like 747 if I remember correctly.
57.
Yeah, no, is it? I have
747.
Yeah, 747. Yeah,
all right.
There's just 5 missing.
Yeah, I actually have that.
I have all the numbers written down.
You have all the numbers?
Yes.
Apparently, I messed up my number crunching.
And when the police are scouting around again, like more so deeper into the city, they find a single living person, a hooded man, just staring up at the sky. And he's brought into custody to the next town over, which is Rose, Pennsylvania. The city that we found they found the 742 people in is called Kingsford. So they're interrogating this guy. This guy's not giving any names and any like thing about him, and they're trying to figure out what's his deal and stuff like that. And he's like, there's something off about him. Like basically like if you stare at him or if you like look into his eye, like some of the detectives look into his eyes and like just get nightmares. And then they get him into an interrogation room and like try to find out what happened with that city. And he's like, "Oh, they just didn't want to live. I didn't kill them. They saw the darkness and couldn't bear the truth, and they just didn't want to live anymore." And like, but what about the 5 other people? Because there was originally 747 people in that town.
And that is the voice of the of the dude.
Yeah. What about that little girl?
Yeah, that's the interrogator voice for sure.
We find out that basically, like, out of the 757 people, 5 of them could take whatever dark truths he instilled in everybody else. And they moved on. They went forward to spread the truth. to other places because they are now inducted into the court. Well, what's the court? The court can't be described. It simply is.
Yeah.
So we get...
And when he asks what the court does, all he says is that we spread the truth.
Yeah. And then after that investigation, or after that interrogation, the Detective Streets, gets in a car accident and dies.
Like on the way home.
Yeah, on the way home.
Yeah.
And then you guys are going to have to help me a little bit on this one because I cannot... It's been a couple of days.
The hooded man was put into like a cell, and he was talking to the guard, and on the video surveillance, he was like talking in a different language.
Yeah.
And
something like possibly Latin.
Yeah, something like that. I think he broke that guy's arm or something. No,
Yeah.
It might have been someone else. Either way, something happens where he freaks out at the guard, and then later on, the guard is found hung in.
And with a note saying the darkness found me, like because he said the darkness will get him or something like that.
Yes,
Basically, the whole similar thing to what he's been doing to everybody else, or like what he supposedly did to everybody in the town.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then the police department gets a call in from a woman saying that she saw one of the missing people.
Yeah.
In a different town of Wurtsboro.
Wurtsboro.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we have 3 towns so far.
Mm-hmm.
And,
do you want to continue? Or
yeah, actually,
do you understand?
you can continue.
All right.
I was expecting you to continue.
I'm literally doing this rundown just by looking at my my list of cast, my cast members here. But yeah, so one of the missing people are found, and so they send out officers to go investigate that. And they send 2 people in, and then on the way in, they lose communications.
Yeah, like complete blackout.
And the blackout happens. Mm-hmm. Then the sheriff decides to not send anyone else in because bad things are happening, so they wait until the next morning and go in, find one of the officers thrown from the car with like massive chest wounds, and that's one thing. All the dead people before didn't have any external injuries whatsoever.
I feel like it was basically like they just went out into the cold and died.
Yeah,
like died of exposure kind of thing is what I like kind of sounded like to me. Like they just
it could have been anything.
They just all walked outside and just stayed out in the cold all night and died.
Is it even winter?
Yeah, it's January.
Oh, dirt. Yeah, but this could be January. Oh, wait, where is it?
January in Pennsylvania. It's just, so it's roughly the same as. It might be a little warmer down there.
I mean, for us, we'd be totally fine.
Yeah, of course. Because we're burly men.
Yeah, of course.
All right, now I know the title card is just going to be all of us with like burly chests poking out of our like costumes.
Oh, totally standing out in the cold. Yeah. Anyways,
even like Mikey, just like for some reason just has a random like burly like hair chest.
No, he just changes the assortment of Starfields to form pecs and abs and such.
Clearly.
So you could summon them at will. That's pretty neat.
Continue.
Oh, right.
We have a rundown still.
So, yeah, they find the one cop thrown from the car and dead with the external wounds.
Yeah.
The other cop is like sitting at the base of a tree, kind of like in a fetal position situation. And when they approach him, he freaks out, pulls out his gun, shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
So they're dead as well. So then they go into the town, and they find 5 people in the middle of the town, like how they saw the hooded man.
Yeah.
They approach them, and they notice that one of them is the person that was
Identified,
as Michael Bennett. And when they approach him, Michael Bennett rips out the throat of one of the officers with his teeth.
Before getting gunned down.
Before getting shot, like RoboCop style.
Yeah.
Like Murphy style, rather.
Wow.
But that's what I imagined.
Yeah. I totally kind of imagined like that, or like just like any number of like war movies or mafia movies where the guy's just getting like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take in everyone else though. He was the only one that was violent.
Yeah.
And
it's not until later that they all get violent, or
one of the missing people gets in a fight with one of the guards and breaks his arm that he shot with a tranquilizer.
Oh, so that was the guy who got
and then one of the other ones, one of the women, were taken in to be interrogated, and they talked to a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
and essentially the psychiatrist is just trying to get information and find out what's going on, and it's kind of the same sort of rundown. It's just like
spreading the word.
Yeah,
spreading the good word. Spreading the good.
If you like what you heard, then spread the word. You know,
the word of darkness.
Yeah, pretty much. I forget. Actually, I do have it open here. I can quickly browse over it. She says something that actually, it's not just the same thing repeated.
Yeah.
Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of skimmed over this in my notes in terms, because I didn't really have much issue with it in my actual thoughts. So my quotes are like before and after these parts.
Yeah. So yeah, he asks what happened in that town, and the prisoner essentially says that she didn't think that they'd all die. She'd figure that some of the people there would be like them, and then they'd be able to continue spreading the word.
Yes,
they ended up murdering.
At this point, yeah, like no one in that city were like them. Like everybody was dead.
Every single person died there, and essentially, when the psychiatrist asks what caused all this, then she just kind of starts freaking out.
It goes into a rage.
Yeah, breaks the wooden chair that she was tied to, and slashes at the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Breaks a chair over his head or something.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, shortly after, like, they all basically cut out they bite out their own tongues and, like, swallow it to die.
Yes.
Like, damn.
Yes, all of them do that simultaneously.
Yeah. So then we have the sheriff, I think, go to the man in the hood.
The original one, yeah. And he's like, just brings him into the interrogation room. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's almost not even paraphrasing.
Yeah, that's basically, yeah. And he's like, it's like basically like the darkness is coming, or like for your city now, or something like that. And,
yeah, he essentially says that, like when asked what's going on, he just kind of repeats, I showed them the darkness, and saying that my disciples just did the same thing, like confirming that yes, they are with him, and all that.
And I think he like threatens the sheriff in like some manner.
Yeah, right around the end, because the sheriff pulls out a gun. He's like, "What is your name?"
Yeah, and then he's just like, "I am God."
After maniacally laughing, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there is the blackout happens across that town, the city of Rose, and the entire police department just implodes it on itself. Like,
yeah, the entire building and everything. Yeah.
And the sheriff is just found like impaled by like rhubarb, or
it's a prison bar.
Yeah, sorry, prison bar. Rhubarb. Wow,
rhubarb, really? That's delicious plants.
Rhubarb. Yeah, prison, basically impaled by like the jail cell bars.
Yeah,
and I think there's a note left by the man saying...
Yeah, there's always a note.
Yeah, I might actually have it right now.
I'll look through my brain. It says, don't blink.
Yes. And that was... And then we have the this town's like disappearances. The other two towns' disappearances were basically completely covered up. And any other anomalies similar to this that happened in that month were considered a hoax.
Yes.
And the Amber Alert of like basically like the American Amber Alert was called off because it was done like I think shortly after the discovery of the first town.
Yeah, trying to warn people, but they kind of figured out that that's sort of also spreading it.
Yeah.
So they stopped that shit.
Yeah. So that's the story basically.
Yeah.
So we'll go into grammar inquisitions because everyone expects them at this point. I have one, and then I have a couple in my actual thoughts because they're more tied to actual like thoughts as well. So sorry, I'll get into those ones when I get to those ones. But my main, well, I say main. I'll just say it. Regardless of this, officers took his threat of another attack very seriously, sending patrols to every nearby city and announcing a statewide emergency. Statewide is actually one word, not two separate words. That is my grammar inquisition until I get to those nitpicky ones that are in my actual thoughts. So, Mikey, he stands for evil.
Alright, well, this is a nitpick, I'm sure. But it's the only one I got, so...
Really?
Yeah. The officers weren't heard on communications at all during the night. This is after they were just on the communications at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So they weren't heard at all during the night.
Wait, PM is evening, though.
Yeah.
During the rest of the night.
her.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a simple should be during the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. That is pretty nitpicky, but also, like, yeah, like, one little word would fix that entire thing.
Yeah.
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 Is that your... Really?
Yeah.
Alright.
Fair.
Gamer.
So, actual thoughts.
Okay. So, actual thoughts.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right, awesome. I love the now for my actual thoughts. Now for my grammar thoughts. That's another name for that. Oh God, it's ever evolving and mutating.
Anyway, 3 sections now.
So actual thoughts. On the late evening of January 17th, 2015, the city of Kingsford, Pennsylvania, experienced a large-scale blackout. This came after approximately 3 days of complete silence from the rather large city, as nobody was reported going in or out of the city before the occurrence. Okay. That's really odd for a large city, I will give you that. But then, law enforcement from neighboring cities arrived at the scene to investigate the odd happenings of the last few days, only to stumble upon a massive graveyard. Out of the 747 citizens of Kingsford, 742 were confirmed deceased, while 5 were confirmed missing. Wait. That is not a city. That's not even a small city. That is at best a small town or village.
It's a village.
The nearest small town we have, which like the smallest town the nearest small town that I have that would equate to the town of this thing is actually I actually found out what the census is. It's 1,300 plus people.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's a small town.
Yeah, that's a small town. Like 747 is barely a village.
Yep.
Like I don't even think there's that many people in this subdivision we have in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Like in the fucking sticks. I don't think there's 700. I think
We're probably nearing some of the other town.
I think we have more people. I think we have more people in this little community than we do than this town does. Like, damn.
I don't know if it's 700.
I think it's probably over 1,000. It's got to be over 1,000. I think my cottage, like the island I have my cottage on, is like probably at least 200.
Should we get a petition going to have a population sign?
I did actually try looking it up. Like I tried looking that one up. I actually couldn't find it. They don't have a census for that.
Just go on Google Maps and count every single house, and then assume that every house has like 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like ridiculous. It's like that's not as large. That's not a rather large city if it's only 742 people.
No.
A large city is at least 13 plus people.
13 people.
No, it's
13 people is a large city.
Yes,
A small town.
a small town is at least 1,300 plus.
Yeah. Because
13,000 plus.
yeah, and a city is over 100,000.
Yeah, exactly. So
Are you pulling these numbers out of nowhere, or
he's probably looked up.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This was also one of my issues.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, really? Yeah. No,
So
no
are
cities.
these? So should we just take out all the words city and replace it with town or with village?
Village would
Yeah.
work better.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Like, do not use large
Well,
city with regards to this, because this is... Yeah.
The main problem that, when thinking about this, is why this happened.
Yeah.
Is because the author wants something weird to happen on a small scale.
But wants to make it sound bigger
Yeah.
threat than it actually
Yeah.
is. Like, this is certainly a micro-apocalypse. Like,
Yeah.
That's actually a term, by the way. It's basically when an entire town gets wiped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like, is dealing with something, like, on an apocalyptic level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Um,
really, in my mind, they should have put the numbers up.
Yeah. Like, make it a town, at least.
Honestly,
Yeah.
though, like 700 people disappearing is still huge.
I'm going to... And that's just one of the towns. I'm going to get into that a little bit later in my notes.
Like,
regarding that.
like, you say that, yeah, they're saying city, so it seems like it's bigger than what it is, but it still is really massive for what's happening.
No, I agree.
Considering, like, the kill count on this freaking creepypasta is higher than every other kill count I've read combined.
Yeah. So this wouldn't get swept under the rug and
or
hoax.
Again, I'll get into that in my next, my final thought of this, or my final actual thought. But yes, I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And then the next quote I have is, as officers continued to scout the city, they noticed a man who stood in this town square, wearing a hooded cloak and looking to the sky with no interest for the deceased individuals. So, my initial thought for this story was that, is this going to be a sequel to the previous one? Are we going to? Is this Sirius Black? Or, not Sirius Black. Is this Sirius Nightshade? And I still don't know. It could be, because his powers are a little bit similar. Like, he does have, like, shadow ability, or, like, some weird shadowy abilities, and, like, the whole darkness thing. But his powers have definitely amplified between Red Christmas and this one, if it is indeed that same character.
But the problem is, like, Sirius Nightshade isn't described clear enough that we can say, yeah, that's him.
Like, they're both hooded figures.
Yeah, but so are a whole bunch of
but,
other...
And they both use the darkness, like, in their, like, as their, like, as a power or ability.
If it was him, they would have described the scar.
That is also true. I was actually looking for the scar the whole time. So, there's that. And then, the next thing I have, he was noted to have erratic tendencies and a smug smirk on his face.
It's a scar.
Deputy... That would be hilarious. Deputy Peters reported later that after looking into his eyes, he had nightmares the same night. Needs more edge.
They were serious
So
nightmares.
edgy. And then my next... this is actually another idea for, like, what's going on in the story. But I'll start with a quote. Man, those 72 people, they couldn't stand the darkness. The remaining 5, however, they wanted more. They wanted to be a part of the court, streets. And just what is the court? Man pauses, pondering. There's no way to define the court. It simply is. Streets. Well, what is its function? Man, another small chuckle. To spread the truth, Mr. Streets. So, first thing.
Actually, first thing, I like how these two characters are twins. They have the same voice.
Sorry, okay.
Anyways, continue.
I should have made Streets like Christopher Walken. I was like,
Yeah.
and just what is the court? No, anyway. So first thing I have in my notes, and this is my nitpick, like my grammar inquisition aspect. It reads weird to me that the guy would say the exact number of people dead, like right off the hop. I don't know. It's a nitpick to me. Like, he could have just gone with all those people or that whole town. Mm-hmm. Also, now that like think about it, it also could have maybe been better if it was like had a question mark at the end of that small sentence, just like because he's like, oh, those 742 people, they couldn't handle the darkness. Like, just have it like a little bit more like kind of like condescending, like questioning, kind of like asshole to personality. Mm-hmm.
But he's not an asshole. For dramatic, he's a nice guy.
Not. For dramatic effect and like the wording and some of that is really what I was going with. Secondly, I'm just going to sit into the Mythos Cultist corner here. The whole court matter...
Is that you just rebranding our Nook? We've been in there for a while.
This is actually not the Nook. I'm actually sitting in a separate corner now.
Oh,
the Cultist corner.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
we had renovations done here.
It's a curtained corner called the Cultist corner.
Nice.
So, the whole court matter, it reminds me of Nyarlathotep and the court of Azathoth. Like, how Nyarli is prone to subject people to maddening truths in the service of his master's court, at the center of everything. I don't know. It just feels like this story could be a lot stronger if they had leaned into the Cthulhu mythos with like the hooded man being actually an avatar of Nyarlathotep, and him talking about the court is actually him referring to the court of Azathoth.
But who says he isn't already?
We're not really given a whole lot like that. That's just my cultist leanings, kind of like putting that in, like projecting that onto the story. But that's the other thing about the story is that we don't have a lot of certainty about the story, other than I am God. And it's
Like, if there was one name drop to connect it to all that, then you'd be like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And like when I actually like added these lists last night when I reread the first part of the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I was just like, oh man, like the court could be the court of Azathoth. Like that actually work like for the story because like Nyarlathotep is all about like shadow and darkness and like I think his debut story in Lovecraft was appearing as like a Tesla-esque like showman showing the wonders of electricity, but then his devices and whatever projected these crazy mind-blowing like projections of like like knowable truths to the audience, and it wasn't until then that the author realized that he was the dread Black Pharaoh Nyarlathotep come back to plunge the world into chaos and darkness. It was like, and so again, jumping back out of the Nook, it's just like basically this is a small moment. Actually, one of the first cases I think that that we found on the show where my kind of go-to for the first story is Cthulhu would have made it better.
Yeah, but also like.
Yeah,
it'd be a little bit less original because of it, though, right?
I mean, yes and no, because like Cthulhu mythos. I mean, you'd win over the Cthulhu fans.
Yeah,
those kind of horror fans. You'd probably get some turned eyes,
rolled eyes.
Rolled eyes. Thank you. You'd probably get some rolled eyes as well. But I mean, like as it is right now, it's kind of just like blah. Like we don't know what's going here or there. This way, it would actually give us some like more credence to the ending.
You're saying you need more information.
No, I'm saying we need a little bit more, or like, okay, yes, but in the right, but like, in the right amount. Like, this is definitely not like for me. The story really didn't have a whole lot. Like, 'cause, again, I was like, is this Sirius Nightshade, or is this like, is this just a random god monster, or is this Nyarlathotep?
Here's the way here's the way I see it. Because he name dropped Sirius Nightshade. Like before the other story even started, this isn't him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because he'd be wanting to specifically go, this is him to like build up his story.
Also,
right?
if the town in Red Christmas was supposed to be Kingsford, like, I think January 15th wouldn't have been the date, like the starting date for this like apocalypse, this town's apocalypse. It probably would have been like a little bit closer to like the beginning of January.
Why?
Because all the other two towns basically like were gone with overnight, whereas like if this is Red Christmas, like a sequel to Red Christmas, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying like if it was, Red Christmas started like December, like basically Christmas Eve is when that one happened, and then Sirius Nightshade started his like basically his terror of the town on Christmas Eve, so it would have basically been overnight, like. Right before Christmas, basically like end of December, start of January, unless he was planning on like ending it on New Year's or something like that for some reason. I don't know. It just seemed,
or he just did the Red Christmas situation to fuck with his one family, and then
that poor fucking family.
And then he's like sitting around. He's like, "What could I do next? You know, I could just kill the entire town. How could I do that really cool?" And then he takes a couple of weeks to figure out what to do, and then he starts his deal.
Also, I haven't.
Or this is years in the future after he's power level.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I was trying to like think like when I first read the story, I was kind of thinking like is this Sirius Nightshade? How is this near Sirius Nightshade? Like, did his power like amp up or something like that now? But then I like at the same time, it's like there's not enough strings here to like kind of connect them again. Hence why it could have gone either way for that, or Nyarlathotep, or something else.
I saw it as a Nick or Fall situation where it's just two entities in the same universe.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
Because was the town in Red Christmas even name dropped?
No.
Was there a year name drop?
No. So it could have been any time.
Yeah.
All right. So, and on to my next part. So, it would warn the people of further attacks while simultaneously sending out an Amber Alert for the missing people. 3 men, 2 women. That's not an Amber Alert. Amber Alert are for missing kids. You want Amber Alert, all caps, because Amber Alert, all caps, is America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. Amber Alert are also sent as WEAs, which are basically like go on your like wireless emergency, like for like phones and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually looked it up. Canadians have the Amber Alert, which is just the color amber alert. which is for missing children.
It's a yellow
And in
alert.
America, they have Amber Alert, which is AMBER, which is an abbreviation, or is an acronym for the American Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but in the story, it is just Amber Alert, like the lowercase.
Yeah, so
it's a
it's
wrong...
technically a grammar
And it threw me
position.
on because there's like 3 men, 2 women. That's not an Amber Alert. That's for like you're looking for children if that's the case. But then we get this from Sheriff Clark. Listen here, you asshole. Those 5 missing kids killed over 400 more civilians and then killed themselves because of something you did. Wait, they're kids now? Okay.
If he's like 50.
To his credit, I literally want to say that. Maybe they're just younger than the sheriff.
Yeah.
Like, because older people tend to call everybody younger than them kids.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Especially if he has a grizzled old man voice like that.
Exactly, yeah. Also, I just kind of always give, like, noir, like authority characters, like, the grizzled noir voice.
Every single character in the entire story talks like that. Even the women. Even the children.
Yes.
The dogs. That's how they bark.
Can I go play outside, mommy?
Well, I guess. Have you done your chores?
Fuck.
That's right.
You're grounded now. Sorry, goddamn God. Oh, God. Anyways.
We need to write a story like that.
We really don't. Anyway, on to the next one. Man, a long pause followed by maniacal laughter. You can simply call me God, Sheriff Clark. There was a loud crash before the audio cuts out. Ah, yes, the I am God trope. See this so many times when it comes to like unknown killers that are just like who are you? It's like I am God. Right before they kill their last victim.
Yeah.
See the expressionless, among others that either on the show or in other like horror media. Mm-hmm. And there's also so edgy.
Yeah. Or it's just like he's seen Ghostbusters, so he knows that.
Are you?
God? He knows to claim himself as a god just in case.
Yeah. What he meant to actually say to Clark right before he died, who got killed, is just like, "Are you a god?" Clark's just like, "No." It's like, "Then die." And I just imagine he just like die, and then like Sheriff's like ragdoll's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, with that sound effect, of course.
Oh fuck. And then we have the only actually this one's. Yeah, I don't actually have to say that one, because that one's basically more of just like, is this serious Nightshade? It's like, no, we've already stuff with that. Mm-hmm. And then my last of my actual thoughts. After the events of Rose, all record of the phenomena were kept hidden away from the general public, and the statewide emergency was brought down and never spoken of again. Any and all occurrences during the late January weeks was written off as a hoax. So first off, again, statewide is just one word, not a hyphen in the middle. Because again, it's done completely differently again.
Is it?
Yeah, for the first time it was just 2 separate words. Now it's a hyphen between them.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound like something that should be hyphened, though.
It does, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then my actual notes to this. Wow, that is some cover-up. I know we criticized the size of that town, or these towns, in the earlier, but that's still 3 separate communities and like populations over 500 that just vanished.
It's 1,794 people dead.
That just vanished completely without a trace, covered up. Those people have loved ones that aren't in those cities. They are going to ask questions, but no, apparently not. Clearly, the SMTF is efficient in their work.
Yeah, damn right.
They just neuralized thousands more people to be like, you did not have a family member in Kingsford. They went to Alaska and never came back, and never went they became estranged and never talked to you anymore. That's. Yep. Like, Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Like,
the Supernatural Task Force has been doing this for a long time, so they're quite efficient, yes.
Mm-hmm. Clearly. It's just like, wow, that is some cover-up. Like, that is almost like Abandoned by Disney, Room Zero levels of like, oh, like all these cars in our parking lot are completely are been abandoned because the entire theme park worth of people that one day were vanished away and tossed into a secret bunker. Where did all those cars end up? We're just gonna take all these cars and bring them to the nearest scrapyard or garage for sale, or dealership, or used dealership for sale. Yep. You just erased an entire how many people again?
1,794.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty ridiculous.
Almost 2,000 people.
Yeah, that's 3 separate towns.
Yeah,
we're just vanished.
3 separate villages.
Yes, 3 separate villages. 3 separate communities.
The combined population of a town, though. Right? 2,000? No?
No.
That's still a village.
That's still a village.
Yeah. 1,300 plus is a town.
Yeah, 2,000.
13,000 plus.
Okay.
13,000 plus is a town.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine. But still, lots of people.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Lots of people died.
So that's my actual thoughts on the story. So, Mikey, these stands for you.
So,
What you got?
continuing on with the whole numbers thing. I did some looking, and I was trying to find out if the number of law enforcement was accurate. Because, well...
Oh, that these towns, a town that small would have...
Yeah, that many people.
Also,
These are cities. Large cities.
Also, I do want to preference right now, based on what I looked up, these are all fictional towns.
Yeah.
They don't actually exist.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they at least went with fictional towns, because just disappearing in 3 fucking towns that actually exist is it's like the Blair Witch Project using Burkittsville, a real place, and having the backlash of that that movie's cultdom invade on that town.
Oh, really?
A year later, after the movie came out, people fans of the show were flooding the town of Burkittsville looking for the Blair Witch.
Well, that's good. They
were
it's
very
good for them.
Yeah, it was good and bad.
Tourism.
It was good and bad because people were just rushing this town, and the town didn't know what to do. People were actually selling people were on people's yards wanting to buy rocks from their rock gardens, or from their gardens and stuff.
Okay, then.
Yeah, people were. It was a crazy time, but yeah, it would have been pretty insensitive to just wipe out 3 actual towns.
But okay,
just as a writing thing. Well, yeah, but So, anyways, good job for making them fictional.
so based on the total, which was
1,794.
okay,
That's my entire purpose.
All right, what was that number again?
1,794.
All right.
so with that in mind, I looked up the average amount of police.
For a
Well,
town.
how much per 1,000 is what it gave me, and per 1,000 people, there's roughly 3.5 police/civilians that are working for the police.
Yeah.
So
Is that 3 police officers and a dog?
yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
3.5.
Yeah.
There's half or quasi Jim, just he's half a person, he's a disembodied half body,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
not the legs, but the upper torso.
Oh, I thought you meant just the legs.
No, the legs work at the other.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So doing the math, that equals 6 people in a dog.
Yes.
So now going by the people that are employed by the police.
Not to derail you for a second. If you said 3.5 people, wouldn't it be then 7? Because 2
It's
halves
not
make a full.
2,000.
Okay, it's not quite 2,000. Okay, fine,
No.
fair enough. So it'd still be 6.5. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a dog.
All right.
Who wants a dog?
So we have Deputy Peters, Detective Streets, Antonia Rivera, the longtime guard, Officer Langley, Officer Parker, Sheriff Clark, and Officer Lacey.
What we don't know is Officer Lacey is in fact a dog. No.
Oh, wait. That means the dog got its throat ripped out. You want that?
Oh,
That's
no,
that
I'm
one.
not cool with that.
No.
Yeah. And that doesn't even account for dispatch, human resources, and accounting.
All these people have multiple jobs.
Yeah, they did one test in the sheriff's office. The receptionist is also a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
That woman who called in to spot the missing person was also a cop. Like every character is actually a cop.
Yeah, so that's where the numbers need to be bigger for the amount of police that are in the story.
Unless because they're named, this is the entire police force. But then again, this is all these police are from the one town, city, village.
Which we never actually get. We do never get a number for Rose, like a population.
Yeah, we do.
Do we actually get a population?
Because they all die.
Oh,
Yeah.
400, right?
It's 589.
Okay, sorry, I didn't. I don't recall that one. So we had 400, 747, or sorry, I guess 747 because the other 5 eventually died. Eventually got killed off.
Yes.
And then 500 and what?
589.
Yeah. So yeah, okay.
And yeah, so the whole logistics there just doesn't work unless it's actually more population.
Here's what they don't tell you. Okay, these 3 towns or cities, they are large cities, but there's not many people left living in them because they've already been through multiple attacks. So this is all that's left. Or most of the city is barren, but this is like they've grouped together and they're trying to keep going.
2015, right, is when this happened.
Sure.
Like, it's,
Check.
yeah, 2015. Okay, never mind. I was going to say the recession could have pulled a lot of population out of those large cities. So that there's a lot. They're large cities. But a lot of the buildings aren't being used by actual population.
Like, with the weird magic that's going on, I would not be surprised if my theory was somewhat correct.
I'm not gonna lie. when the I remember reading the part where like the detectives are going into the next town and right before it goes like dark. When instead it goes dark, I really envisioned just a ball, like a sphere of darkness, just encompass the entire town. Like and like it basically cuts out all like communications and whatever.
Isn't that what happened?
I thought in reality it was just like all the power went out and like the no signals were able to get through.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, but like so it went dark as in like an actual blackout. But like
But it was also at night, so if there was a black sphere, you wouldn't be able to see.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a sphere of darkness. Like and the drow have attacked.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty cute.
Yeah. And then another thing is that they have a psychiatrist
Yeah.
for that many people. So
They called her in.
either there's been a lot of shit going down,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
Gamer in Yellow has pointed out, or it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Or the person writing this didn't do the research for population and stuff, or didn't know what the how much population you need per police officer. Like we do, they didn't go in depth on this for this story about like a god monster killer, like basically wiping people out of the darkness, truth and in maddening truth.
There's a really quick way to solve this problem. If with all these populations, you just put a K at the end of it.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah,
Add 3 zeros to all of them.
747K. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is certainly a large city.
Yeah.
But then we also
Or
have
just-
the issues like
That's 1 million people going away.
that is a pandemic. That is an epidemic.
Yeah.
That is a like how do you hide that?
Yeah.
You can't
Like,
hide 2,000
it's a
people.
really hard it's a really hard thing to do. Like you can cover up. Like I'm not like the government has probably covered up like mass disappearances like this. Or like shrugged it off as being a hoax or something like that, and just never. And like, I'm sure that is a thing, but like not on that scale.
No.
Like, and maybe if on that scale, that is fucking terrifying. If that is like people can just like and never be seen again. Like, damn.
Well,
overnight, basically.
Yeah. Well, in a universe where like this kind of weird, fucked up magic happens, what's to say that scale of something couldn't actually?
Well, yeah, because at that point is there a counter element in the government that's combating the supernatural threat. Also,
Yeah, the Supernatural Task Force.
yeah. But like, if Gnarly or Sirius or whatever this creature, this entity is that's like doing this, he probably did not stop at Rose.
Did you call him Gnarly?
Yeah, Nyarlathotep.
Oh.
His nickname is Gnarly among the
Gnarly,
Mythos.
bro.
Yeah, Gnarly. Yeah, like if I assume again this is an assumption, but I assume after the story there were other towns that were getting wiped out. Like,
I'm sure
it's an epidemic. We're now approaching basically again like a walking apocalypse. Like he's going town to town, taking out the populations.
Well, because it says like that they pulled off all of the alerts and everything. Did
you just like give up?
It almost feels like
I only needed three communities worth of sacrifices.
Just the way it ended, it almost sounded like them stopping caring about it actually stopped it happening.
Well,
I don't know.
It did say it
because it says that everything's been covered up. It's been said as a hoax. So
it says any and all occurrences during the late January weeks was written off as a hoax. So basically, they're basically covering up the other any other cities from disappearing as just being a hoax, even though they're losing hundreds of people overnight.
So it might have happened for the entire month of January.
Yeah. And again, Pennsylvania is a pretty I've been to Pennsylvania and I've seen Pennsylvania on the map and stuff like that. There's a lot of towns in Pennsylvania, but they are a lot of rural towns. There is a lot of space between towns as well. So I could buy it's also in Appalachia, so there's a lot of forested mountains and stuff like that there. So it could be a lot of these are large towns or villages even that are just the nearest one is 30, 40 minutes away between each other's.
Yeah.
So I could possibly buy that these are out of the way towns that are basically vanishing, and so they're not able to be noticed yet. But that's still a lot of people.
It is.
But yeah, sorry, we are deviating away from your original thought.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
It was about the numbers.
The number of police officers doesn't work.
Right, yeah.
So, the next thing is, did you guys notice that the police officers technically survived the last explosion?
What?
Alright, so, the first disappearance, or blackout, it's Kingsford citizens.
Yeah.
The next one is residents of Wurtsboro. The third incident is civilians.
So all the authority figures are surviving these attacks.
Well,
no.
They'll survive the last one.
Because, if you're a police officer in a town, you are a resident of the town as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay, so...
Oh, and the entire police building imploded on itself, so it could have been the hooded guy just being you know what? I'm going to take all these people. They're all going to be disciples of mine.
Yeah. Just teleport into the shadow realm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just plane shift the entire building.
That's why it imploded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't take the structural integrity couldn't take the portal that opened up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
The only person that is but you, Sheriff Clark, you gotta die.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was the one pure one there.
Yeah, he's the one that couldn't take the truth. Everybody else could take, or he's the only one that couldn't take the truth.
All the other 47 officers
were disciples.
Yes, of course.
47 officers.
I'm just picking a random huge number for no take.
That's way too many people.
I know, that's the idea. Yeah.
Well, my thought was that the Supernatural Task Force probably saved them and is figuring out a way to combat the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So they need people that are on the front lines.
They need to learn magic missile so they can use it against the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is our... Here's another question. Is our antagonist here, going to Pathfinder and D&D stuff, is he a fetchling? Like an overlord fetchling?
Yeah.
Like a being of the shadow world that can like create crazy... That can like planar shift and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And just like... Yeah. So we have Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos.
Yes.
We have Sirius Nightshade possible. And we have now a fetchling from D&D, from the Shadow Realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just clarifying that.
Yes, just clarifying. Again, this
In the modern age, of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's modern fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's my notes.
Ah, okay. Suppose that means it's my turn. Mm-hmm. Let's see what I have left. On to no. Let me see what I have. So when Detective Streets is first speaking to Meek, who I referred to as the man in question.
Oh, nice.
He's Meek. Meeky. The E stands for...
Shut up.
Yeah. He's pretty evil.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, when he's questioning him, he essentially keeps asking questions and not getting an answer, and not caring that he's not getting an answer, which kind of annoyed me, because first off, he's like, did you kill those citizens? He's like, no. They wanted
That was
to
an
die.
answer.
No, but here's the thing. He said no, they all wanted to die. All of them. Like, if someone just says
So we
that...
didn't kill them. But
No, okay, if you're interrogating some crazy dude, and you ask him if he killed everyone, and he said, no, they all wanted to die.
yeah, but none of them did have marks on them. So, like, he technically is telling the truth that he did not kill them. They died some other way.
How do you know he didn't kill them?
Well, we don't. But, I mean, like, they have no wounds, or, like, no wounds. They just, like, again, it's as if they just walked out into the cold and just died of the element, of exposure.
He could have just used frickin' his magical, silent but deadly gas attack.
Okay, a gas attack, I can imagine. Magic, like, is like the cop wouldn't be thinking magic at this point.
No.
Oh, I know, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No, but I'm just saying,
He could have very easily walked into town
Well,
and
he's
just went like
officer.
giant shadow bubble that just murders, makes everyone insane.
Well,
and
you
kills
see,
them.
officer. Actually, I used I cast Shadow Ball against the entire city, and
It was super effective.
exactly. And it's like, oh, I see. How much mana did that cost? She's like, oh well, I mean, like 5 mana.
5 mana, wow.
I mean, I had to take out like 747 people.
Understand.
Yeah.
You're insane.
Luckily, I have arcane bullets.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I just found it weird that he wouldn't... Like, it really... all the answers he's giving, it sounds like he's basically admitting that he's murdering them, but he's not.
Yeah,
You know?
he's being a smirky little asshole.
And the next one is like, I merely showed them the darkness of their sins, Mr. Streets. Yet what I did, they couldn't handle it. They desired a merciful demise.
So
It almost... Yeah, exactly. Literally, in my quotes, my own bracketed things are, so you killed them. So you killed them. Like...
yeah, no. Well, again, he's being he's playing with the
And I suppose the detective is just trying to get information out of him, not trying to... he's not actually trying to get a confession out of the guy.
Yeah, he's just
right
trying
now
to figure out what
because
the fuck's going on.
yeah, but it was kind of annoying.
Like, why were you the only survivor of this massacre?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Better question is, why did he hang around?
Huh?
Why did he hang around?
So he can infiltrate the police department and take all the
I guess that's true. Yeah, that was
just
cool.
because he apparently does not fear death. Like apparently he's God or like some kind of godling or creature with immense supernatural power.
His name's Meek.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like got some like he doesn't fear like the cops. Obviously, he's just he's like the Joker or like just insane.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's like, what are these guys going to do to me? Yeah, sure, I'll go with you. I'm not going to tell you who I am or I'm going to play with you a little bit.
Yeah, he straight up says that at the end. It's like I can leave whenever I want.
Yeah, you guys know I can I'm not stuck here with you. You're stuck here with me.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyways, moving.
Yeah.
So a little bit later on, when the second attack happens, and Sheriff Clark sends officers out, the quote is, "The following is a conversation between Rose Sheriff Clark and Officer Langley via the communication system in the police vehicle. Langley: Yeah, I see the town. God damn, it's so dark I can't even..." Call ended. The officers weren't heard on communications at all during the night. That's one hell of a conversation those two had.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we got that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that joking aside, it is good that they put that in because he's specifically saying when he's approaching the town, the entire town is super dark.
Yeah. So it could be a sphere of darkness.
Yeah.
I think that's where I got the idea of like, oh yeah, like the sphere of darkness. It's like the drow have risen from the to attack the surface world.
Yeah, totally.
Again, to make our podcast, like I hope we do have D&D and tabletop gamers listening to us, because otherwise they're not understanding half the shit I talk about nowadays.
You don't have to be to D&D to know what a drow is. Like people that play,
some people do.
There's like video games and shit that have all that in it.
All right.
Yeah, it's not specifically a D&D.
It's not too unapproachable.
Yeah, exactly.
But that said, like I also know another podcast that says that, like, oh, just to make us less approachable. Like, here's some D&D references. And it's like, if anything, that's making me like more interested in this podcast.
Specifically because you're in the D&D.
Yeah.
But the masses, if any of them aren't, they wouldn't be
like, what?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
It really doesn't matter. But yeah, I only thought that was weird because it has the intro saying like the following is a conversation between blah and blah. So I thought it would be like have some sort of length, or at least have the sheriff say something. You know,
sorry. Yeah, he just doesn't. It's just the guy, the one deputy or whatever, just going. Like, yeah, it's really dark.
Yeah, that's the entire conversation.
Yeah, they left out the hello, still there? Hello?
Yeah, what's his last name? What's his last name?
Langley. Yeah,
it's just like
I would have been happier if Clark said a damn thing. He's got to listen to him.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, so then moving on. The officers weren't heard on communications at all during the night. Sheriff Clark refused to allow any more officers out of the city of Rose.
Continue. Sorry.
The power remained out until the break of dawn at approximately 7:30, where law enforcement then went to investigate the city. It had been the same as before. All 456 residents of Wurtzboro were dead. 457 if Officer Parker was counted. So you just let all of them die.
Yeah, and it's like,
that's my first question I had.
It's really dark. It's really dark in here, and then it's like, sure, we need to. Should we go call for backup? I was like, fuck no, I'm afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
Oh, the dark.
Yeah.
It's like really, that's like, no, you send your troops in at night, like regardless, like you're a police department.
Yeah, because right now that's 457 people's lives that are on his conscience.
Two of your deputies just went into that hellscape. Like, you call backup. You call the fucking National Guard.
Yeah.
Like,
and that being said,
you've already lost a town.
That being said, though, apparently only Officer Parker had a soul because Officer Langley wasn't counted into the count there. Because it says all 456 residents of Wurtzboro were found dead. 457 if Officer Parker was counted.
Well, no,
but Langley was there in the car as well.
Was Langley the one who killed himself, or like in the like?
This is before that happened. But regardless, Langley and Parker went in, and then they only referenced Parker.
Yeah. Well, I think they only referenced the one because the one was like dead, like on site, whereas the other one, like they had to approach him and then he killed himself.
This is before that happened.
I thought that was like...
This is immediately after the thrilling conversation between Langley...
No, yeah, I get that, but he technically, like, the second police station... Because
Slow down.
The narrator knows what happened. It was about to happen.
I don't know.
I know, but he's leaving that off, and then like he explains in like the next couple of paragraphs or the next few sentences why the other cop wasn't referenced because.
But
yes,
here's the thing: he died.
He did die. But it wasn't overnight, though. Like all the people, the victims that are mentioned in that number are just the ones that died overnight.
Are you saying he is not a victim of what happened that night?
He is. I'm just saying he was alive when the cops arrived.
He's still a victim.
I know
of what happened.
It's semantics, but yeah, like I understand where why it was said like that because he technically wasn't dead when they did the consensus.
Yes, but the reader doesn't know that. So it makes it confusing.
But the reader finds out a few sentences later, so the reader just has to wait a few sentences.
But it makes the reader make a note in his notes about it to bring it up on his podcast.
That's fine. You're allowed to, but your other fellow host, who's also a reader, is allowed to make fun of you for it.
Fine.
Okay.
Be like that.
I will.
Great.
Happy audience? Having fun?
I hope
I am.
I'm not. Anyways.
Yet I see you laughing.
No, I'm not. I'm crying on the outside. And I'm laughing on the inside.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway, move on.
All right.
I think this is what our one listener meant. When he's like, if you guys can keep it on track.
I mean, this is on track. We're
still talking about the story.
It's regarding what
continue.
Yeah. But that's my last one.
Oh, really?
The last one, I was just going to bring up that, 2,000 people died. How do you cover that up?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so final thought. I do actually like the basic premise of the story and the supernatural element that's involved. Like, this could be, like, a really cool, like, a growing, like, town-for-town apocalypse happening as this guy just walks, like is, like, slowly, like, taking out towns in Pennsylvania. But I also definitely feel the story needs to be improved upon. Like, we need kind of a little bit more than just a mysterious figure who claims to be God because he has super like micro-apocalyptic power. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to know a little bit more. I would like to know more. I know it's weird to hear me say that, but
yeah, it's a little weird.
Occasionally it happens.
It's almost like the tables have turned.
Or that the story is slightly under my usually low bar for needing to know things.
Apparently.
And again, with the numbers of the populations and some of that, it is a little hard to like stomach some of that or buy that stuff. Mm-hmm. So at present, I can't recommend this story. I like it. I like the basic premise of like the entity and like the town's going like basically going dark and killing, or everybody just like being offed by some dark maddening power. But I need more. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I can't recommend it at present. Mikey, these days for you.
All right. So I sort of like the idea of sort of darkness destroying the town,
right?
Like that premise is neat.
How very Alan Wake. Or again, very like mythosy. Like I could see,
but
yeah,
the whole killed by truth.
Again, it's a Lovecraftian element, you're because human minds working on the cosmic horror and Lovecraft thing, the human mind is so is not prepared to deal with that kind of those kind of truths that they just go mad or die.
Well, it's equivalent to if you go into the Matrix and you tell someone that they're in a simulation and you prove it to them and they can't deal with it, so they kill themselves.
Yeah.
If that's the truth that this person is portraying, telling everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be nice to, I don't know, have the Cthulhu angle. And then the other question that comes up is, what about the people that can't comprehend the truths to begin with?
They die.
But
that's the whole point of
well, talking about babies, for example, they wouldn't even know what's happening.
They say grave mass grave, everybody in that time died. And I was just saying, usually, I would have expected some of the children or whatever to be a little bit more malleable, but I guess not.
She's saying if there's a newborn that's 1 year old.
Yeah, actually, to poke at the story's or to poke the power a little bit here. He's apparently the truth is he's showing them their sins, their great sins, and that's what kills people basically. Is that they it amplifies that and rips their soul apart by that. Babies and children generally don't have sins like mind crushing sins like that, unless they're just showing them maddening imagery or something like that. I don't get that. I don't get the whole from children angle or even baby angle. Certainly not baby angle, unless they just died from exposure because the parents just brought them outside to die as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that detail could have been explained a little bit. Maybe the parents and stuff as horrific as it is. Maybe the parents killed the children because they didn't want them, and before killing themselves because they didn't want to live in they didn't want them to live in a world of this dark truths and stuff.
Or the entity convinces them that the children are their sin or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe all the children are missing and they're actually the new disciples.
Yeah.
Maybe, what if all the children were the disciples rather than adults? It would be creepier because it's children attacking you. and spreading the good word.
Like a toddler
not
crawling up to you.
like, again, like
it's not a toddler that just jumps up like the bunny from Monty Python.
It's the cop. Yeah.
I warned you.
It's got teeth like and claws like. Look at the bones.
Yeah.
The four babies.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've already gone over the numbers so many times.
Yeah, it's so
and how they don't add up, and you just need to make it more believable.
Like, honestly, like, I would probably... I think the story could have been fine without numbers.
Yeah.
Like, with, like, vague... Like, just say that the whole town was wiped out.
Yeah.
You don't need to have an exact number.
Yeah.
Because when you do start going into detail, if you're going to go that route, you better go deep into that route, because otherwise you're going to get picked at by three individuals on a podcast.
Yeah, 3 people, but everyone else would be fine.
Yeah, sorry, 2.5 people, because one of us is a demon.
Hey, he's a person too.
Sorry, 3.5 because he's more than human.
Makes sense to me.
I suppose.
Anyway. So, yeah, I'm not going to recommend this one either.
Yeah, there's potential in it.
Yeah, there's potential, but...
Yeah. And gamer.
Going into this, I'm like, you know what? I don't hate this. And then sitting down here, listening to you guys poking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. And like, yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense.
No, like, again, I don't hate the story. I'm just, like, I see, like, it had potential. It just doesn't do much with it.
Yeah.
I went into the story, it's like, yeah, this is kind of, like, it's not presented well, like, but there are some, like, merits to it. But.
And, like, I hate to say it, because it sounds like I'm just saying it to spite you, cultists.
No, it's fine.
But the same reason that you want more information, I don't need any more information for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know. It's just like... It tells you snippets of information so you know shit's going on, and there's a larger thing going on, but it just kind of leaves me wanting... Yes, I want to know more, but
You were content with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it the way it is, and if they do a sequel, if there's more on it...
Are we both, like, the same species? Are we both, like, humans? Like, am I just... I guess I'm part penguin or something, or I don't know what the fuck I am. Like,
I was a dog for one episode.
It's fine. Like, we both have, like, very, very... As the show has declared, we have very different opinions on when it comes to reading.
It's just opposite day to day. That's all it is.
It doesn't have to be. It's fine. Like,
I know. For me, it was either I wanted more mystery or more detail.
Yeah, that's really kind of what it is. Like, this one didn't have a good balance for mystery versus revelation.
I think what happened for me, I didn't get as annoyed by the town situation with the number. I'm just like, whatever, fuck it. They mean...
It's cool.
Like, I guess that's small enough for a town, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a big enough hurdle for me to trip over.
Yeah.
I just did my ninja flip over and continued. It was fine, and like the scale of it, of instead of being a traditional creepypasta where like one family gets killed or one person from one family,
entire 3 cities.
yeah, 2,000 people get killed.
Minus just under 2,000 people get wiped out.
Yeah, like that's a huge kill count.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
Especially in like 3 days.
Yeah,
like that is terrifying.
Well, is it 3 days? It breaks up, right?
January 15th, January 16th, 17th, and then January 17th, January 18th, and then January 19th is when it's over the course of 2 nights.
Regardless, even if there's a week in between, it only took 1 day to do each task.
Yeah.
So,
exactly
3 nights of work.
Yeah.
Almost 2,000 people killed.
Yeah, under a week. In less than a week.
So when I'm comparing this to other creepypastas, all the other killers, their power level's like down here, and then Meek is like way over 9,000.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the hell he's doing.
I mean, actually, there's a character, Foul-Faced Killer, I think, had a pretty nasty kill count as well.
I don't know.
It's been about 2 or 3 years since I read that story, but I remember him like going, basically like killing people across the states. Like, it wasn't even just like one state. He was like popping up all across the states, like with the same MO and some of that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm actually going to look up just for a random thing, January 17th, 2015.
Okay. Anyways, overall though, like I didn't hate it, and like the only real problem I have with it is the couple of things I brought up. Like that one not conversation was ridiculous.
So,
go ahead.
Just under 2,000 people in a weekend, because January 17th is on a Saturday. So over a weekend, 2,000 people were wiped out in that county of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but yeah, sorry.
But again, it didn't annoy me as much as it annoyed you guys. It's not perfect, and maybe because I've already heard it before. The whole "I am God," like it didn't really get me as being spooky or nothing.
No, yeah, it got me because it didn't get me as spooky because like I've heard that trope too many times in like writing. That's just like okay,
but I understand it though. It's a malevolent creature, who is essentially saying, like, using that to amp up.
I have become God. Like, because
also it's kind of unnecessary that he even said that because he immediately killed him.
Exactly. Like, why couldn't we have just gotten his name, like his actual name, or like,
instead of me making up his name as Meek,
or Sirius, or I am Nyarlathotep, or I am the crawling chaos.
Yeah.
Spreading, or I am the crawling truth. Like, would have been cool.
Yeah.
But
specifically saying the crawling chaos would be...
That would have been like, bam! The Court of Azathoth!
Yeah, and it's also like, it's not a direct reference.
Yeah.
Because you have to know a little bit.
But it's his title.
Yeah.
Or like, like again, like it could have been a number of his like masks. Mm-hmm. That like or one of his avatar names or something like that. Like it would have been fine. But yeah, you don't have to say his actual name, Nyarlathotep. You could say like any of his titles.
Because he's also not him. He's like a servant of him. But he also might be him. But we don't know.
It's really fun.
I know. Either way, I'll at least give it a partial recommendation because I didn't hate it. I enjoyed some of the aspects in it, but some of them pissed me off. So it seems like a kind of 50-50 situation. Yeah. It could be better, like most of them. But it's kind of maybe 60-40, 50-50 on good and bad aspects. Yeah. So it's not bad, and it didn't take me too long to read, so I can't hate on it.
All right, fair enough. So that's our week's episode. So if you like what you heard, spread the word. Like a mimetic virus.
Spread the darkness.
So yeah, spread the truth of the darkness. You can leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can talk to us on Twitter. Mikey is at the East Stands for Evil. I'm at Review Cultist, and the Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W because Twitter hates him. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing, and you can also leave us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave a suggestion for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can also check out the title cards for each episode at crazonstudios.tumblr.com, crazon.deviantart.com, or on our YouTube channel, Al Dente Rigamortis, where you can check out the videos of each episode. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. Currently we have $2 and $5 tier, but any donation helps us. And you get early access to episodes, special episodes such as Al Dente Real Talk, where we talk about videos and movies and films that we feel have a connection to creepypasta or that type of horror genre. We also have Actual Play Rigamortis, where we run tabletop games. Weird, we've been talking about a lot in the last couple of episodes about tabletop games. But
maybe we'll actually run some.
Yeah, but we've also been because we run games, and they're usually creepypasta related. And we record them and post them on the Patreon. And my two hosts have their own show on the Patreon, which includes
Al Dente Reloaded at the $5 tier, where Mikey and I go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly pastas that the cultist and the doctor did in the past, read them, and see what our thoughts are on them. And then Al Dente Revelations at the $2 tier, where Mikey and I continue from those thoughts after listening to the old recordings that the cultist and the doctor did, and see what our thoughts differ, and possibly have a mind-breaking revelation while doing so. And also destroy the art.
Cool.
Yeah, we think it's cool too.
Yeah.
It's the only way to learn and get better. Why are you crying?
And to our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely. For listeners, if you weren't listening, we really wouldn't have much of a show. And for the authors, we definitely wouldn't have a show, because we wouldn't have stories to read and discuss on our show. So thank you. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And I am God. And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Wow. For the eyes at home, the Gamer in Yellow has acquired one of my the Nice cultists' tea cart for his coffee.
It's a Beauty and the Beast tea little rolling table situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, the top's yellow, so I mean, it works.
Yeah.
It's suitable.
Yes.
It's actually quite nice.
Hey, you get to be punny. I can be silly.
And I get to be critical.
He just gave us, like, you can do that because I'm silly. So I'm allowed to be punny now. Thank you. I'm glad I have your permission now.
You've always said that. Even though I cringe and like...
I've been holding back this entire time.
God, no! This isn't even my final form.
It's really not.
Ha! Pun. Just like...
For the first 5 minutes of this episode, just me being...
Your hair just like plumes out. It's like, it's my pun bun.
Pun bun? Wait, I got like a man bun situation?
Yeah, exactly.
God, it just becomes like a fro on the back of my head.
Yes.